Everyone says your 20s are the best time to get rich. They're wrong. We are constantly fed this narrative that if you haven't made your first million by 25, you've already lost the race. We see the stories of the teenage tech geniuses and the 20-something influencers, and we feel a crushing sense of urgency, but the reality for most people in their 20s is a cycle of hustle culture, total confusion, mental burnout, and tragically low income. You are working harder than ever, yet your bank account barely moves. It is time to reframe the timeline of success. In your 30s, you have 3 unfair advantages that most 20-year-olds simply don't possess. If you use these correctly, your 30s can create more wealth in 5 years than your 20s did in 10. This is about strategic wealth building. This is about moving from the frantic energy of youth into the calculated precision of maturity. And the third advantage is the one nobody talks about, yet it is the single most important factor in why people actually become wealthy. For years, society has pushed a big lie about your 20s. They tell you to take massive risks because you have nothing to lose. They tell you to grind 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They say you have all the time in the world, so you should try everything and see what sticks. But here's the reality check. In your 20s, you usually have low income, absolutely no leverage, no professional network, and a high level of emotional instability. You are essentially a novice in a world of experts. Taking a massive risk when you have zero capital and zero experience isn't bold. It's often just reckless. Your 20s are actually for exploration and learning through trial and error. They are the training grounds. Your 30s, however, are for execution. The difference between the two is where the real money is made. Execution requires a foundation that most people haven't built yet in their early years. The first major advantage you have in your 30s is that skill stacking finally begins to compound. By the time you hit 30, you likely have over a decade of real-world experience. You aren't starting from zero anymore. Think about the cumulative effect of those years. You have developed communication skills that allow you to navigate difficult conversations. You have gathered deep industry knowledge that gives you a gut feeling for where the market is going. You have had exposure to sales, whether you were officially in sales or not, because you've had to sell your ideas and your value to every boss or client you've ever had. Most importantly, you have mistake experience. You know what a bad deal looks like. You know which types of people to avoid. In your 20s, you are focused on learning one thing at a time. In your 30s, you begin to monetize the intersection of everything you've learned. This is where you develop high-income skills. For example, in your 20s, you might have learned how to write code. In your 30s, you combine that coding knowledge with the management skills you picked up in your late 20s and the industry insights you gathered along the way. Suddenly, you aren't just a coder. You are a consultant or a founder who understands the business side of technology. You can turn job expertise into high-ticket consulting. You can leverage years of video editing into a specialized creative agency. You can turn industry knowledge into digital content or a niche business. Skill alone doesn't make you rich. It is the combination and monetization of those skills that creates wealth. But skill alone isn't enough. It's leverage that truly moves the needle, and leverage requires something most 20-year-olds are missing: capital. This leads us to advantage number 2. Higher income equals bigger investment power. This is a simple mathematical reality that the invest $50 a month in your 20s crowd often ignores. While starting early is great, the average income typically rises significantly once you enter your 30s. There is a massive psychological and financial difference between trying to invest $500 a month versus $2,000 a month. Wealth grows much faster from the size of your contributions than from time alone when you are starting with small amounts. In your 20s, your primary goal is survival and basic savings. In your 30s, you finally have the excess capital required to fuel serious wealth building assets. When you have a higher income, you can finally afford to buy equity. You can invest in stocks at a volume that actually produces meaningful dividends. You can put down payments on real estate that provides both cash flow and appreciation. You can invest in businesses or start your own with a safety net that allows you to think long term. In your 20s, you might have time, but you have no capital. In your 30s, you have the perfect intersection. You still have plenty of time, but you finally have the capital to make that time work for you. However, even with money and skills, many people still fail. The biggest advantage isn't money, it's actually psychological. Advantage number 3 is emotional stability and focus. This is the emotional anchor of your entire financial future. In your 20s, life is often a series of identity crises. You are constantly worried about what your peers think of you. You feel the pressure to attend every party, buy every new gadget, and keep up with every trend. This is the decade of FOMO investing, jumping into whatever crypto coin or meme stock is trending because you're afraid of being left behind. In your 30s, that noise starts to fade. You have fewer identity crises because you actually know who you are. You have less peer pressure because you've realized that most people are just as lost as you were. You have clearer priorities. By 30, you finally know what you don't want. You've had the bad jobs, the draining relationships, and the failed projects. This clarity allows for sustained focus. True wealth isn't about a frantic hustle. It's about sustained focus on a specific goal for 5 to 10 years. In your 20s, you are trend hopping and distracted by relationship drama. In your 30s, you're capable of playing long-term games. You make fewer decisions, but they are bigger, more calculated decisions. You choose discipline over the fleeting highs of motivation. Most people waste their 30s repeating their 20s mistakes, but if you lean into this newfound stability, you become unstoppable. This is why your 30s are the wealth acceleration decade. You are in a unique window where your energy is still high, but your wisdom has finally caught up. You can implement a 5-year aggressive strategy that completely changes your life. During this window, your goal should be to increase your income by 2 or 3 times by focusing on your most valuable skills. You should aim to invest 40 to 60% of that increased income because you are no longer trying to impress people with lifestyle purchases. This is the time to build at least one scalable asset: a business, a YouTube channel, a service agency, or a portfolio of rental properties. You don't need 20 years of slow growth if your income scales rapidly and you invest the difference. If you start at 32 and execute properly, 37 can look completely different. You can achieve more financial progress in those 5 years than most people do in their entire lives. However, frequent blunders cause many to miss this time. The most dangerous is lifestyle inflation. People buy bigger houses, fancy SUVs, and extravagant holidays when their 30s salary starts. They give up freedom for worthless status symbols. Another mistake is being content in a solid career with no prospects. Some mistake stability for security, but true security comes from assets, not paychecks. One of the worst mistakes is thinking, it's too late. Many feel like they've missed the boat at 35. They quit after seeing the 22-year-old millionaires. It's not too late. The time has come. Finally, you have the tools to win, and you need a practical plan to do this. First, audit your monetizable expertise. What skills do you have that command premium prices? Step 2, focus on income growth before getting into sophisticated investing. Low-income problems cannot be solved by investing. Step 3, build one scalable asset alongside your main revenue, your exit ramp to true wealth. Step 4, automate investing to generate wealth without thinking. Step 5, avoid lifestyle creep for 5 years. Think of 30 to 35 as your financial boot camp. If your income rises while your costs stay the same, wealth math is inevitable. Your 20s were about becoming wealthy. Your 30s are for building. You are now ready to lead the curve. The talents, capital, and dedication are all there. Stop lamenting your 20s failures and focus on your current leverage. You still have opportunities in your 30s. Your greatest financial advantage begins with them. Your past labor meets your current resources in this decade. Use them carefully, keep focused, and know that your bank account's greatest years are now.